like there's a group of black women that has attacked Caitlin Clark and her fan base online, ruffling over.
Recently, several commentators went off on Caitlin Clark live during a stream, and their comments have stunned the entire WNBA community. They didn't hold back, making their feelings about her and her fans very clear. The remarks were harsh, disrespectful, and quite shocking to hear. This raises the question, did they cross the line with their attacks, or is this just part of the territory that athletes face when they're in the spotlight? While critics argue that athletes should expect scrutiny, many believe that crossing into disrespect and personal attacks is unacceptable. Ultimately, it highlights the darker side of fame and online commentary.
I totally agree with that, and I also think that that some of the new fans got a rude awakening when they did come to the W, because what happened was their fave was not the best. And so that was their issue. Like, I get that she was the Rookie of the Year. I understand that. But you're also battling and competing with people like Nicole Collier, with people like your own teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, with other people who, like we've all said, have been here for a while, like the Breanna Stewarts, who have been here. So I'm confused as to why, like Diane Taurasi said, this is a grown woman's game, baby. Yeah. So, but we're going to change the subject.
Recently, during a panel discussion on the streaming show Playback, the conversation unexpectedly shifted into a harsh critique of Caitlin Clark and her fan base. Instead of engaging in fair analysis or constructive feedback, the women on the panel launched personal and aggressive attacks on her skills, accomplishments, and supporters. The atmosphere grew tense and bitter, with comments that felt more like a vendetta than genuine sports commentary. One panelist highlighted how Caitlin's fans entered the WNBA with high expectations, believing she'd quickly rise to become the league's top player. However, she faced a rude awakening when she didn't dominate every game, despite earning Rookie of the Year honors. The panelist pointed out that Caitlin is competing against seasoned stars like A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and her own teammate Kelsey Mitchell, implying that she's not as exceptional as her fans think. Things took a sharper turn when a quote from Diana Taurasi was brought up saying, "This is a grown woman's game." The message was clear. Caitlin, a college superstar, is in a different league now. The panel suggested she's just another player trying to prove herself among women with years of experience. The tone was dismissive and condescending, clearly aimed at belittling Caitlin and her supporters. Overall, these comments crossed the line from critical analysis to outright disrespect, sparking controversy and prompting questions about the limits of sports commentary and online interactions with athletes. It highlighted how online discourse can sometimes become personal and hostile, especially when athletes are in the spotlight and fans have strong emotions about their performances.
You have no emotion. You have 131 followers. And you're speaking on CC.
What made the situation even more intense was how the panelists quickly tried to change the subject after making those harsh comments about Caitlin's talent. It was almost like they realized what they said could cause controversy, but they didn't care enough to stand by their words. Instead, they just delivered their critique, threw in some shots, and moved on as if it was no big deal. But the entire exchange was caught on camera and spread across social media at lightning speed. The response was immediate and fierce. Caitlin's fans were outraged, flooding comment sections, quote-tweeting the clips, and calling out the panelists for being disrespectful and hateful. Many also highlighted something important. These same commentators had previously shown little concern about the WNBA's lack of popularity or visibility before Caitlin's rise. Now that she's bringing millions of new fans and drawing significant attention to the league, they suddenly want to criticize her and claim she's overrated. The level of hypocrisy in this situation is astonishing. It's clear that their negativity isn't about fair analysis, but about tearing down someone who's changing the game and attracting a new audience.
I think a lot of these old guard WNBA media reporters, old guard WNBA fans is happy as hell. I truly think they happy. The fandom is over. The hype is over. Caitlyn's stuff is over. They can go back to normal. Being in a sunk.
The timing of everything only adds to the frustration. The WNBA just concluded its most successful season ever, and Caitlin Clark played a huge role in that achievement. Consider this. Attendance numbers skyrocketed, TV ratings hit new highs, merchandise sales soared, and social media engagement exploded. The league actually generated more revenue this year than in decades past. All of this was driven by Caitlin's ability to bring mainstream attention to women's basketball. She's the reason millions of new viewers started tuning in, purchasing jerseys, and talking about the league. However, instead of celebrating this growth, a certain group of older WNBA fans and media figures seem genuinely upset. They resent the fact that Caitlin receives so much spotlight. They dislike that new fans are more interested in her than in longtime players. They're uncomfortable with the narrative shifting away from the players they've favored for years. Rather than embracing the increased popularity, they often try to diminish Caitlin's achievements and criticize her fan base. This resistance to change and the refusal to acknowledge her positive impact only highlights the disconnect between the league's evolving landscape and some of its traditional supporters.
I said what I said. You said what you said, huh?
Let's be honest about what's really happening here. Caitlin Clark is a white player in a league that's predominantly black. And truthfully, some folks have a serious issue with her being the face of the WNBA. They believe it's unfair that she receives significantly more media attention than black players who have been in the league longer and are just as talented, if not more so. Some even see it as racist, arguing that corporate sponsors and mainstream media seem more drawn to her than to the league's black stars. And there's some validity to those concerns. The WNBA has historically struggled with how it markets its black players compared to white players. That's an ongoing problem that definitely deserves open discussion. But attacking Caitlin personally and trying to tear her down doesn't solve the core issues. It only makes the league appear petty and dysfunctional. If the goal is to give more recognition to black players, then the focus should be on promoting them, highlighting their skills, sharing inspiring stories, and creating compelling content centered around their talents. Spending energy trying to discredit Caitlin Clark isn't the answer, because the truth is, she's talented, works hard, and has earned her position in the league. Recognizing her achievements doesn't mean the league can't do better at elevating other players, too. Interestingly, the comments during the playback stream also revealed something else that's been simmering beneath the surface all season. Many longtime WNBA fans are actually glad to see the hype surrounding Caitlin starting to fade. As the season winds down and the off-season begins, game attendance drops, social media buzz diminishes, and YouTube views on league content decline. Some fans are even celebrating this quieting down, thinking it's a sign that things will return to normal. They prefer a smaller, loyal fan base that focuses on their favorite players rather than dealing with millions of casual fans who only tuned in because of Caitlin. For them, the excitement and attention Caitlin brought are seen as disruptive, and they're happy to see that fade. But the league's future depends on balancing star power with genuine support for all its players, not on shrinking the spotlight to just a few. That mindset is truly astonishing when you take a moment to reflect on it. The WNBA has spent years pleading for recognition, battling financial difficulties, and watching its top players leave the country to earn more money overseas. Then, Caitlin Clark arrives and generates a level of mainstream interest the league has never experienced before. Instead of celebrating this surge in attention and looking for ways to sustain it, some people are actually rooting for the league's decline. They seem glad the hype is fading and want casual fans to disappear. It's as if they prefer a smaller, less visible league that caters only to a niche audience with specific tastes. The major issue with this attitude is that the WNBA relies heavily on revenue streams like sponsorships, TV deals, ticket sales, and merchandise sales, all of which depend on a broad, engaged fan base and widespread popularity. If the league diminishes back to a niche product, only appealing to hardcore fans, it will face severe financial struggles once again. This would mean continued low player salaries and poor playing conditions, perpetuating a damaging cycle. The entire league's sustainability hinges on expanding its audience and mainstream appeal. Moreover, think about how this attitude appears to potential new viewers. Someone who recently started watching because of Caitlin Clark might see panelists criticizing her or mocking her fans during broadcasts. What impression does that leave? Likely they'll think, why should I support a league where the media openly disparages the players I came to watch? It's a damaging perception that discourages new fans from sticking around. Instead of fostering growth, such negativity pushes people away, undermining the league's future. Regarding the Rookie of the Year debate, the panelists acknowledged Caitlin's achievement, but then tried to diminish its significance. This kind of attitude not only diminishes her accomplishment, but also sends a discouraging message about how the league values its rising stars. Overall, embracing and supporting the league's rising stars and the attention they bring is crucial for the WNBA's continued growth and success. They claim she's competing against established stars. Well, of course, that's how professional sports work. Rookies always have to go up against seasoned veterans. Caitlin averaged over 19 points and 8 assists per game in her first season. Those are outstanding numbers for anyone, especially for a rookie. She led the league in assists and set multiple rookie records. She even played a key role in transforming the Indiana Fever from one of the worst teams into a playoff contender. These achievements don't just vanish because some talking heads on a stream try to downplay them. This is part of a broader pattern of attempting to rewrite the narrative around Caitlin's rookie season. Once the season ended, even her critics had to admit she was performing well, since the stats and team success spoke for themselves. But now that there's no basketball being played, people have started pushing alternative stories, claiming she wasn't really that good, that her fans are delusional, or that her attention was solely because of her race. This is pure revisionism, deliberately designed to undercut her accomplishments. The racial aspect of this situation is complex and uncomfortable, but it's an important issue that must be addressed honestly. Dismissing her achievements based on race or trying to diminish her impact only undermines her success and the progress the league is making. Yes, Caitlin undeniably benefits from being a white player in terms of media coverage and sponsorship opportunities. That's an unfortunate reality. The sports media landscape has historically favored white athletes, and the WNBA is no exception. She didn't create this system. She's simply navigating within it and doing her job. If the WNBA and its media partners genuinely wanted to address the coverage gap, they would actively promote Black stars alongside Caitlin. Highlighting the league's diverse talent pool instead of focusing solely on one player would make a real difference. But that requires effort and intentionality, things that seem to be lacking, as it's easier to attack Caitlin and her fans instead. Another important point is that Caitlin has always shown respect toward her fellow players. She doesn't trash talk, never claims to be better than anyone else, and consistently credits her teammates and opponents. She's managed the immense pressure and scrutiny of being the league's most prominent figure with remarkable maturity. The timing of this stream feels suspicious, especially considering the league is currently facing labor negotiations and the threat of a lockout. It's disappointing to see these attacks happening amid such critical league challenges. The league is currently in a very fragile state. This was an ideal moment for everyone involved to unite and present a strong, cohesive front focused on growing the sport and improving it for all fans. Instead of collaboration, we see media personalities on streaming platforms actively sowing division and targeting the league's biggest star. Did they think they were offering some groundbreaking insight that no one else had considered? Or were they simply venting their frustrations and seeking attention by making provocative statements? Judging by how they quickly shifted the subject after their comments, it's clear they knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted to throw their shots and move on before facing any real backlash. This entire situation highlights one of the WNBA's biggest issues: the league's tendency to undermine itself. The league finally has a chance at mainstream recognition and financial stability, yet internal conflicts and destructive behavior threaten to derail that progress. Whether it's players taking cheap shots at Caitlin on the court, media dismissing her accomplishments, or stream panelists attacking her, there's a troubling self-destructive streak that keeps holding the league back. Fans are exhausted, tired of seeing the league undermine its own success and sabotage its growth repeatedly. Fans are fed up with the double standards where Caitlyn faces criticism for actions that other players are not penalized for. All they want is to enjoy good basketball and support talented players without the unnecessary nonsense. The WNBA had momentum, new fans, financial prospects, and a real chance to build something sustainable. Instead, we're back to the same old dysfunction and infighting that have long plagued the league. Much of this negativity comes from people who claim to love the WNBA but can't handle its rising popularity. Where do you stand on this? Were the panelists out of line for attacking Caitlyn, or did they raise valid points about how the league promotes different players? Share your thoughts in the comments because this debate isn't over yet. And if you want more coverage and analysis of the WNBA, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any updates.